Okay, hi everybody. My name is Kathy Burrell, and I'm the entrepreneur in residence here at WeBC, which just means that I've had a business for 20 odd years a while ago, and I'm currently a consultant working for WeBC. Before I get started, I would just like to acknowledge that we're gathered here today on the traditional and unceded territory of the Okanagan Syilx people. We recognize, honor, and respect the presence of Indigenous people, past, present, and future. And some people don't know where they are actually located in whose territory. So Selena is going to pop a little map up into the chat, and that will help you understand what traditional territory that you're joining us today from. And if you just want to pop into the chat, say your first name and what traditional territory you're on, that would be great. And the other thing that I'd like you to know is that at the end of this session, we're going to try and finish right at 11 o'clock. But if you have like a minute to wait after the session, we do a feedback poll. In the feedback poll, you're welcome to put any sort of suggestion that you have for a future webinar. Maybe you love this session and you want to hear more about government procurement. Maybe you have another burning topic that interests you. Just do the feedback poll, and just in the comments, just pop in your idea, and somebody from WeBC will be in touch to get a hold of you to talk about it. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what WeBC offers. We provide support for your small business journey. We offer financing to get your business started and operating capital for your growth. We offer more flexibility than traditional lenders because we take a holistic approach and provide loans based on your business's viability, not based on formulas like a lot of banks do. So, what does this mean? It means we provide loans to a diverse range of women-owned businesses and support you with integrated services, including complementary training, mentoring, and business advising. So, if you take anything from today, you can take the idea that if you were to get a loan from WeBC, we would provide you with free training, mentoring, and business advising for the entire 5-year term of your loan. So, from essential business skills development to personalized business advice, we know the right questions to ask and the right resources to contact you to connect you with. So, in our mentoring programs, you can connect with a network of women entrepreneurs and experts all around BC who can support and inspire you. You can learn more about our services at we-bc.ca and sign up for our e-blast to get notified of new programs as it's only February and we have a ton of great offerings coming up. Okay. I think most of you are in the room now, which is great. I want to tell you a little bit about today's webinar. So this is part 2 of our PAC session. In this session, we're going to break down the different ways that government asks businesses for goods and services, including simple explanations for terms like RFP, which is a request for proposal, RFSO, which is a request for a standing offer, and RFSA, which is a request for supply arrangement, I'm sorry. If your business offers something the government always needs, for example, a mandatory commodity, we'll show you how to find those opportunities as well. So we'll also guide you through how to register in SAP Ariba, the online system the government uses to work with suppliers. Registration is essential because without it, you may not be able to see or apply for certain opportunities. Many businesses miss out simply because they're not registered, so we will ensure you understand exactly how to get set up. This is really a process dealing with the government. It's kind of step 1, step 2, step 3. So without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my slides and turn it over to Carter Bobby. Welcome, Carter.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, and yeah, welcome everyone. I'm taking place over Sarah Ann, who's supposed to be here, but unfortunately cannot be here, and happy to be here in her place. I work with her closely and share the same knowledge base as her. Just give you a little bit of a background about me just before we kind of jump in, just so that way I'm not another face on the screen. But yeah, I've been working with government for over 5 years now. I initially started with the Office of the Procurement Ombudsman. They investigate complaints into federal contracting disputes between potentially yourselves as a supplier or potential supplier and the contracting authority being the government. So if you feel like you have won a tender and you were not paid on time, you're treated unfairly, conditions are changing on a whim, you can reach out to the procurement ombudsman. And as well too, if you are expecting to bid on an opportunity and you feel like the criteria is a little bit too restrictive, or you think that it's favoring a certain business, or you think that there's anything nefarious going on with the tender itself, you can always reach out to the procurement ombudsman. I'm happy to share free email, free resource, and they're obligated to get back to you in 48 hours to A, recognize the complaint, and B, file it. So, anyways, there's a bunch of help out there for you should anything go wrong, but we're not even at that point yet. We're at how do we even find out about the opportunities to know what's going wrong? And that's what I'm here to do with you today. So I'm happy to share with you about how to find the opportunities, register on SAP Ariba, and kind of lead you to success. It's not going to be as there's always going to be hiccups within this process. Whenever we give this type of presentation, registering with more than one person is always a bit unique, but nonetheless, it is something that we're happy and of course, willing to do to better understand and help out suppliers in the region. Canada Buys is going to be your best starting point, though. And if how do we get to this website? I will post in the chat here. But this is the website for all federal contracting opportunities across Canada. This is where the federal government will post opportunities that are to do with the government of Canada, and as well, you'll see opportunities that are not with the government of Canada, and we'll chat about those in a little bit of detail. We can see here, we can here search for tender notices, view tender notices. We can access, SAP Ariba from here. There's a bunch of information in the Getting Started page. And really, Canada Buys is a single window for businesses to view bidding opportunities across federal and most of provincial, territorial, municipal governments, as well as some administrative institutions, schools, and hospitals. That might be a little bit funky because I work with the government and I'm referencing a bunch of other opportunities. So I'll touch on it in a little second here, and I'll give you an overview about what it means. But the government of Canada is a part of the Canadian Collaborative Procurement Initiative, and what that is, it's intended to amalgamate a lot of the different or to create awareness about a lot of the different procurement opportunities across Canada. For example, not everyone knows that the city of Halifax might be procuring different cleaning services or different janitorial services that you could definitely apply to if you're comfortable operating across Canada or have operations across Canada. As well, UBC, SFU might have different opportunities for different consulting opportunities, different catering opportunities as well. And you wouldn't know about those opportunities unless you went onto their specific website, you knew about it. And as well, there's, thousands of schools, tens of thousands of different municipalities across Canada. Of course, there's all the provincial governments. So there's a bunch of opportunities out there. And really, Canada Buys is trying to create awareness of those opportunities. So that way you can at least be filtered into the process. So let's try and take a look at some of these opportunities. So where do we find them? It's tender opportunities. This is where we're going to find all of our tendering for the government of Canada. And right when we're hit this page, we're going to be met with a lot of information. We're going to be met with a really big number. And why is that? Well, because we're looking at awarded and open. So we're looking at who's won, as well as the current opportunities about how to make money today, if you will, or how to bid on opportunities today. On the right-hand side here, you'll see the different organizations, the purchasing organizations that are requesting these types of solicitations. So the RCMP is requesting athletic shorts, which is quite interesting. Department of National Defense, Tech Fit Up. But as I scroll down here, you'll see, there we go, Halifax Regional Municipality, safety, supply of delivery of safety footwear. That's really interesting, but that's not with the government of Canada. This is with Halifax Regional Municipality. And while I would love to go into depth about it, I wouldn't be doing it justice. And it's not my unfortunately, not my responsibility to go into those Halifax Regional Municipality ones. But if this is of interest, you are capable of delivering these goods or services across Canada. We can click on that and see what's up. But let's just go back to the top here so that way we can kind of take just another general look at this website. So we do have a bunch of different filters here as well. So we can filter these opportunities by goods, services, construction, notice types. So there's a bunch of different types um, of notice types. Sorry. Be in the government of Canada, and there's a ton of different ones to be aware of, and there are differences between the two. In general, when we're first looking at opportunities in the government of Canada, really, I wouldn't encourage the specific selection of these filters. Just when we're first viewing it, you might limit yourself to opportunities that you are applicable for, and you might not be looking at all of what's open. However, if we're looking at a few, request for proposal is really the bread and butter of government, or really the bread and butter of all procurements across the world. That's really or any purchasing organization saying, propose a solution to the problem that I have. Request for information is exactly as it sounds. Request for information. Usually it's used for innovative info, or not innovative, but the government needs more information from industry to better put together a tender, so that way they know what's going on. Request for supply arrangement and standing offer are the two other ones. So that I would as well flag your attention for. These aren't contracts. But they're an offer from a supplier agreeing to set prices and terms. So this is for a standing offer. Departments then issue call ups, and then each call up becomes a contract. So this is used when the government knows exactly what it needs, but not how much or when. And it's typically for reoccurring, predictable goods or services. The RFSA is used to create a supply arrangement, and a supply arrangement is also not a contract. Again, request for supply arrangement. It conditions and rules for future competitions against qualified suppliers. It's when is it used? When the government buys goods or services regularly, but it can't define the requirement in advance. So there's too many variables to price. So departments will run mini competitions among the qualified suppliers for each of the need. And so yeah, so these would be request for standing offer, and supply arrangement would be pre-qualifications to work with the government to then be called up on future opportunities, which would then get you money in your pocket. But applying to the request for arrangement is in itself a contract. The call-ups are the contracts. Nonetheless, those would be the ones that I would bring your attention to. There's others on here that certainly are definitely valuable to look at. But again, I wouldn't go too heavy into the filters when we're just looking at stuff. What I would do though is when we're looking at these opportunities is to click outside, or click the X beside awarded. Why? We just want to look at the current opportunities that are open, and I'll give a demonstration about how to kind of to find some opportunities, or to best navigate the website so that way you can let it work for you. I do see, so I see that there's, yeah, I mean, I guess I should have probably started with this, but I'll do a little bit of searching for opportunities in the cleaning service. So I'm just going to search up cleaning, and we'll see what pops up. And we can search for a bunch of different search criteria, if you will, but starting as broad as possible is always encouraged when we're searching for opportunities and finding opportunities. Oftentimes we meet suppliers that might be highly, sell clothing, but they specialize in, a different type of fabric or t-shirt. And so they're searching up this very specific fabric and t-shirt criteria into the search bar. But the government of Canada doesn't do that. The government of Canada quantifies clothing sometimes as uniforms. So it's always great to search as high level as possible. So if you supply t-shirts, clothing, food, catering, and it's always unique, and we always encourage you to come talk to us if you supply a kind of a niche product, if you will, or kind of a more of a unique good or service. We'll give you an example just to say that the government of Canada recently engaged with, or our office recently engaged with dog grooming services, and they were saying, hey, we see the RCMP dogs. They obviously need to be maintained. They need to be, their teeth cleaned, brushed, whatever, flea checks and stuff. Who's doing that work? I don't see any tenders on the government of Canada. And they were searching up, dog cleaning, dog wash, and none of that came up, but it was canine maintenance. That's how the government of Canada defines dog washing and all that stuff, and the maintenance of their dogs. And so the dog grooming service would never search that. They would never search canine maintenance. Each one of those letters and words did not fit. So anyways, please come chat to us. There's always a unique kind of variable to government to better understand it. In general, think as high level as possible. Um, so again, I'll just search up cleaning. From here, what we can do is we can click follow this search. So let's say that there is a cleaning company or you guys all do cleaning. We could follow this search so that way anytime an opportunity comes down the line that involves cleaning, you'll be notified the second that it hits the radar. And how do you do that? It's really just you saw me click follow the search, name, email, how you want to be notified. You want to be notified of who's won, any contract history, or do you want to be notified when tenders come up? From there, you're done. And you can let the opportunities come to you. It's always a shame, we kind of started with it and alluded to it, but once an opportunity does close, so once the opportunity, my goodness, once the opportunity closes on February 5th, there will be no opportunity for any type of supplier anywhere in the world to bid on this opportunity anymore. If the government of Canada needs to or sees enough motion, if you will, from the supplier community, they can then release a new tender, but there would be no way for yourselves to bid on a tender that's closed. So being aware of what's currently available and pops up when it does is always valuable, and giving yourself the most amount of lead time that you can to view and to bid on these opportunities is highly valuable. Typically there's 3 months to a month to bid on an opportunity. But sometimes it's 2 weeks. Sometimes it's even less than that. So being aware when they pop up is incredibly valuable. You'll see as well opportunities, that are with Town of Berwick, again, not with the Government of Canada, City of Richmond Hill in Ontario, splash pads cleaning, that's not with the Government of Canada. But you can click on it and you can be directed to that tender if you do clean splash pads, or cleaning in general. But what we will do is let's click on this tender to give you an example of what does a solicitation look like. So let's say this is something, cleaning services for the Department of National Defense. Let's say this is something that you can bid on. The first thing that we want to do is notice the time until closing, 4 days. That's pretty short to put together a procurement package for a first-time supplier. What we would recommend is there's no golden time frame. There's no silver bullet for a time frame, but 4 days is pretty short. You got a lot of other stuff going on, and there's no guarantee that you're going to win this contract at the end of the day. So you want to keep that in mind of just using, you manage your own time accordingly. In general, 2 weeks sounds a bit fair. A month is even better. The longer is way greater of an opportunity for yourselves to put together information, ask questions, and we'll go over that in a little bit. Right here, though, we can see just a short description about the tender. This is going to be the tightest description that we can about the tender. Once we get into bidding details, the documents are going to be quite lengthy, typically around 40 to 60 pages. Not to scare you, but we will give you some information about how to best navigate that as well, because there's a way to, better view it, and there's lots of quirks that go into these documents. From here, we can see the estimated contract date. So it's for a period of 6 months, and these are all the different trade agreements that apply. So countries that are belong to these different types of trade agreements can apply to this tender. And so long as you're part of it, then you're hunky dory and you're good to go. The last thing that'll go, well, not the last thing, but one of the last things about this one section is just the partner with another business. So let's say this is something that you want to work on, but the time until date is till sorry, the time till closing is too short. There's not enough opportunity for, there's not, you just can't put together a package in time. This partner with another business is an opportunity for yourself to potentially become a subcontractor. And I want to just underscore potentially. So this opportunity, what this does is it creates awareness of just companies that are interested in being a subcontractor. Once the prime is awarded this contract, they then have the option to partner with another business of subcontracting. And Sky High Maintenance and Oddmark Inc. have listed themselves as an interested business who would be interested in partnering. If I click on this, again, it's really simple to add your business to an interested business, and it's not necessarily low-hanging fruit, but it's definitely an opportunity to just create more visibility of your company and of your eagerness and willingness to work in Government of Canada tenders and with potentially a prime. This is as well a great way to just dip your toe into Government of Canada contracting. You're not responsible for the delivery of the goods and services. Really, at the end of the day, you're responsible to the prime, but the prime holds all the responsibility for the Government of Canada. If anything goes wrong, if anything's not delivered on time, you might have a relationship with the prime, but it ends up on the prime. The prime would take responsibility for the fallout of certain obligations that are met or not met. All that to say is that it doesn't absolve you of all your responsibilities in working with the government, but it does give you a bit of a buffer to say, hey, you know what is it like working with the government? And building a relationship with a prime is sometimes the best way, so that way you can kind of, work off them to get the opportunities. Regardless, this would be a way to list yourself as that interested business. So areas of expertise, company name and information, first names, titles, positions, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, you're done. And all of a sudden, you're listed on here. And it's a really great opportunity for yourself. Again, nothing, this is something that could come of it. There's something could come of putting your name down here, but it's not necessarily, there's no guarantee. But it is great, as it is a great opportunity, and I would encourage you to do that. Before we get into contact information and bidding details and registering on SAP Ariba, I just want to give a quick overview of this information, the summary of information, which is just a summary of information. It gives you a great snapshot. So region to delivery, Alberta. So it's going the DND office is going to be in Alberta for 6 months, competitive open bidding, and highest combined rating of technical merit and price. What does that mean? So typically the Government of Canada procures goods and services with either technical merit and price, or just price, or combination, one of the combinations. If we're procuring, this is not going to be ever a tender, but if we're procuring pencils, and let's say we need 100 pencils, it's likely we're just going to go with the lowest price. There'll be mandatory criteria to meet. So we'll want to make sure that you're, using fair labor practices. We'll want to make sure that you're using potentially Canadian source wood or lead or whatever it is. And if you hit that mandatory criteria, what's the lowest price? And truly, sometimes it just comes down to pennies. If we're talking about cleaning and janitorial services in a sensitive area like the Department of National Defense, I could see there being some reason for, technical merit. They might want to know that, hey, you've been in business for a long time. How have you worked with sensitive materials before? Have there been any issues with it before? They might not want a 1 year or first time business competing for whatever reason. And really, that's just the tender, or sorry, the contracting authority's kind of justification. If you think that, hey, this is a little funky to say, why do they need technical merit for cleaning? We can start with the contracting authority, Matthew, here, and we can reach out to Matthew via email right now to ask that question. Or we can, of course, as I started with, the very first thing I said was the Office of the Procurement Ombudsman. If Matthew isn't getting back to you, or he's giving you very funky responses, or he's raising more eyebrows than you have, reach out to Oppo, and they're going to be a great service for yourself. But anyways, they will also use combined technical or combined rating for, let's say, for Indigenous consulting services, or typically consulting service in general. They might not want to go with the shop that just opened up yesterday when we're trying to negotiate some deals here. They might want to get some experience in. They might want to just have more information about the company. The last thing, and arguably one of the most important things, is this code. So all federal government codes, or all federal tenders, will be coded with the United Nations Standard Practice Solicitation Code, UNSPSC code, and I won't say that again. Every single tender has these codes listed, and what is it? It's really just a way to better code opportunities in the Government of Canada. If I click on this, which I just did, and this page always takes a second to load whenever I click on these codes, but we'll be brought to a page with just these codes. And from here, we can click follow this search. And again, this will be a way to stay up to date. And this is the most accurate way to stay up to date with federal opportunities, is to identify the codes and then click on them and follow the codes. There is a website that does list them, and I mean, it is available. Gosh, it's so, I think it's here. Yeah, but there's like 10,000 codes, and truly not all of them are active. sometimes it's the government of Canada has recently switched over from the goods and services identification numbers, which is our old way of codes, and now we're using a new system of codes. And there's or 7,000, so they reduced it by a couple thousand here. But they're still using some of the old codes. Some of the old codes aren't active. The new codes are active, but they're not being used. So I really, there is this website, and I'm happy to share it, and you can definitely go through the different codes. But the best way to do it is to do some searching, to have some fun on Canada Buys, set aside a couple hours to say, or an hour or two to say, search for some opportunities and just click around. Arguably, it is kind of fun to see what is being purchased around Canada and around the globe. And just setting up the notifications is a great starting point. As well, sometimes there'll be commodity codes there'll be several. There'll be cleaning. They'll just be cleaning. There could be just janitorial services. There could be advanced cleaning and janitorial services codes. And really, just the best way to do it is to just click around on the website and to search for relevant criteria. That'll be the best way to identify the codes. Truly, this website again, I'm happy to share it with you. But if we search up, not that we're looking up insects here, but we can if we search this codes, we're not going to be finding just relevant opportunities, and it's likely that you're going to become more frustrated than actually doing some work. And so even here, 166 entries for cleaning, guardrail cleaning, parts and machinery accessory cleaning, road sweepers, metal cleaning and machinery. So there's just so many, and not all of these are going to be used. And 166 is too many to follow. So when it's likely that the government of Canada is using probably four. So anyways, let's do some searching on Canada Buys, and we just encourage you to set aside, a couple hours or so. From here, what we should probably talk about is how to register on SAP Ariba and getting you registered on the platform. So I will pull up a tender solicitation here, which is just like an example tender that we use to just demonstrate how to register on SAP Ariba. But one other thing, sorry, that I'll just mention really quickly about these tenders is you heard me reference like the large page numbers and stuff. One of the 60 pages or something, sometimes even longer. I'm hesitant to say that live though, which I just did. But the best way to go about navigating these tenders is to start back to front. Start from arguably and in general, Annex A is going to be one of the best starting points to review any tender opportunity. Everything before that, terms, conditions, glossary, the government of Canada is covering its butt in one way or another, saying, this is what's going on in the government of Canada. This is what it means to procure with the government of Canada. At the end of the document, that's when they say, and this is the work that's going to be done. And Annex A is typically that statement of work, where the goods, what's being required. So, for example, you might see the title on here, musical instruments and cleaning repair. The first 40 pages, terms and conditions about what that means, locations, yada, yada, yada. Musical instruments and cleaning repair would be in Annex A to say, these are the instruments we're repairing. These are the instruments we're cleaning. This is the amount, how often, blah, 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 blah. And then that's when you can kind of evaluate to say, oh, this is really relevant, rather than reading 60 pages of terms and conditions and then saying this is a waste of time. So I would encourage you to start back to front when we're reading these documents. And looking in the annexes is always a great starting point. Specifically, Annex A is going to be your best friend when reviewing procurements with the government of Canada, and likely across other different institutions as well. Sorry. So yes, let's try to go into how to register on SAP Ariba. So yeah, every tender has a different type of contact as well. So before you sell was Melissa or something, this is King Kwan. Great name. That is arguably the best name I've heard all day, all month, all year. King Kwan is awesome. But yeah, he's or they are the contracting authority, and you can reach out to them today to ask questions about what happened with this tender. But to view the bidding details, that's where we log on to SAP Ariba, and this is where the fun kind of happens. So before we even do that, though, there is a step-by-step guide to create a free account, which I'm not going to get into. I will hold it in the background just because it helps me kind of help you. But there is a page here that does show all the information, albeit I'm happy to walk, or I will walk through it right now. But just to let you know, that there is some screenshots and stuff. So if you ever run into any hiccups, today or tomorrow, whenever you continue it or finish it, absolutely, there's quirks there for you. From here, let's see how we can do it. So I should probably share something with you. And let's go to uh, log on to SAP Ariba. So when we go to SAP Ariba, it'll prompt, or here, sorry. Um, Let me go back to, this is what I'm supposed to do. Canada Buys. I'm going to go to Canada Buys homepage. And what I'll do is I'll post the Canada Buys link in the chat again. And if you can follow along with me, that would be awesome. There will be a natural handing off point just for this, there will be an reduced screen sharing just because I have an account and I've already set it and I've already used up all of my fake emails to create accounts on SAP Ariba. So unfortunately, some of this either might be done without me specifically screen sharing with you. However, I'll be happy to set up a meeting with you individually to walk through the registration process. I was going to say later this week. Tomorrow's Friday. Happy to meet with you on Friday, if not next week, to continue the uh, um,
Harder. I think in
the
the chat
process. I do see a
there's yeah, there's a question from yeah, somebody about where they went in the chat and where it took them.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Crystal, yeah, I found a link that directed me to bcbid.gov.bc.ca, which then directed me to another, abbotsford.bidsandtenders.ca. So are there, like, can you get caught in the weeds here and you're not actually on Canada Buys anymore? You're not at SAP Ariba?
Definitely. Yeah. So when we are looking at some of those opportunities, this is just for or what I'm showing you here today is just for the federal tenders. There are opportunities, yes, with I know this probably isn't the one uh with BC Bid. But we're not aware of the opportunities with BC Bid with Alberta or anything. Although I am in the Pacific region and in British Columbia, we don't have any knowledge or awareness. Unfortunately, you can sometimes get caught in the weeds, and view party on third party or view full details on third party site is going to be kind of that indication to say, hey, you're leaving Canada Buys. And you'll continue outside of there to, BC Bid or the Abbotsford platform. Once we're outside of Canada Buys and once we're clicking outside of Canada Buys, unfortunately, it's just not something that the government of Canada has any awareness or influence or kind of knowledge of, if you will. So there will definitely be some kind of snags, if you will. But we'll
So
just want to keep
So
yeah,
just to be
sorry.
clear, so the idea is if you stay on Canada Buys, it doesn't necessarily mean that all the procurement opportunities are in Ottawa or Montreal or Toronto. It's like
Oh,
Canada
for
Buys,
sure.
yeah. So just as long as there's I guess, a Canadian government office in the town you live in, and that's what you're looking for opportunities or nearby, with regards to Abbotsford is close to Vancouver, that could
Of course.
possibly, yes. Okay, that's great.
Of course. And we can search by geographic area too. So we can search by Canada. We can search, well, you used to be able to put in provinces, but I guess not
I
anymore.
think the
So we can,
registration just on Canada Buys would be great as a first step.
sure. Okay, fair enough. So we're going into, so we go to Canada Buys and this is the homepage and we click Getting Started. Getting started is going to be one of your best friends when we're understanding procurement. We met with this page. You're not a public service employee, but we're a business. And we can click this, start selling, start the selling process. Can't read today. From here, this is a lot of information for yourself. So you can absolutely view this information to just get your CRA business number, your procurement business number, view the Indigenous Business Directory. You can view opportunities. You can learn how to pre-qualify. There's different programs. So this is really a great resource for yourself, and definitely worthwhile to potentially bookmark if this is something that you're interested in. From here, we'll want to go to SAP Ariba Network, find out how to register in the SAP Business Network. If we click on that, we'll be brought to this page right here. And again, there is the step-by-step guide that I would definitely encourage you to just bookmark until you're not necessarily approved, but you're in. And from there, or not from there, but in for this argument's sake, we'll go to create your SAP Ariba account. From here, it'll prompt us again out of Canada Buy. So every time you see this page and these beautiful blue or not blue, they're more purpley links, that's when you know you're going outside of Government of Canada and you're no longer on a Government of Canada platform. It could be related to the Government of Canada, but it is not a specific Government of Canada product or ownership, if you will. So let's continue to the SAP Business Network, and this is where you'll be able to start to register. And this is where you will want to enter your business's legal name, the country where your business head office is located, street address, postal code, and everything. In the user account information section on the register page, you'll also just want to enter in, you obviously create a password, and a username if you want. You can use your username as your email or email as your username, which is what I always do. And then you can click register at the very bottom here. Unfortunately, this is kind of what I alluded to, where I like my screen sharing is not because I've already registered with every single email that I have, including all my fake Gmail and Hotmail ones that I set up when I was 2 years old. So, yes, unfortunately, I can't do it today, but you'll receive once you do register, you'll receive an activation message in an email that says you have registered, and you'll click the activate link to confirm your email address. And you have now created an SAP Ariba account. So I'll just pause for a few moments here. I know that we don't have too long together, but I will pause for a moment just to make sure, see if SAP Ariba does send you that link or you're able to register. If you're not, please know that there's more than happy, thrilled to follow up with you to help you with this process. And you can screen share with me and we can kind of go over how to best set up the information here.
So Carter,
Um,
this is definitely like sort of step one. Before you can go any further with procurement, you have to be registered, correct?
that is so it is great to be registered. And if tenders are processed through SAP Ariba, like the one that I just was linked to get to here, then yes, you will need an SAP Ariba account to bid on an opportunity and to view opportunities. Some opportunities, though, are posted directly on to Canada Buys. And one of them I think it was this one, but some of them are posted right on to the site. Or it says, please contact the contracting officer. So some of them will be posted directly on here, and you can download the links from Canada Buys. Some of them might be sensitive. So, if this is with the Department of National Defense, and I don't know, something's going on with the sensitivity, you'll want to reach out to the contracting officer. In this case, it's a general one, but anyways, it does depend.
And
80% though, a large majority of the tenders are through SAP Ariba, so having an account is crucial to bidding on opportunities.
And I don't want to add like another layer to if we're not ready to talk about this yet, but if the
Hmm.
government is offering if you go in and bid on a low dollar value contract, do you have to
Hmm.
still be registered with um, in this way? Or I don't know if you want to speak to that a little bit. Like,
For sure, yeah. I mean, the low dollar, it could be, and it just depends. It always depends. I mean, some of the departments are posting them directly on to the site, and there's no need to register on SAP Ariba. It's a bonus that you have an SAP Ariba account, and I would say in general, having one is better than not having one. So that way you can avoid the headache when you want to bid on an opportunity through SAP Ariba. But it is the case that each tender opportunity is unique and it does depend, and it's always a funky answer that the government of Canada gives. In general, though, a large majority are processed through SAP Ariba, and having an account is really important, but they're not all going to be through SAP Ariba. And the ones that aren't are always very interesting too.
would you also agree that, just even registering your business, getting organized that way, that if you were talking to somebody that was in the contract authority or someone that you chatted with about an opportunity that looked like something you would bid on, it just sort of
Mhm.
adds to legitimacy, especially if you were looking to partner with another business on a
Oh,
bid or
absolutely.
something? Okay.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's a really great point too, is that yeah, adding yourself as a registered business with the government of Canada on the platform is another great resume builder, great tick on the box, if you will, to say, hey, they know what they're doing. They're willing to go through all this time. They've attended these sessions, they talked with these people,
Yep.
they went through the vetting process in one way or another with the government of Canada. It just gives other businesses the reassurance. And
Great.
when you heard me saying that there's different, ways to share opportunities. This is another one. So yes, some of them will be posted on to SAP Ariba where you saw me click. You saw the contracting authority one, and now this is the other one. So this is where tenders will be posted directly onto the website. And you can see how many unique downloads, which is always awesome because I don't think SAP Ariba does that, but you can see how competitive it's going to be. I've seen this number as low as zero. I've seen this number in the 5,000s. It just there's no silver bullet. It could be nine, it could be 72 people, or it could be one person with 72 devices. It could be the one company and all employees have downloaded the document to potentially influence things. So there's no silver bullet to it, but it does give you a good indication to say, okay, how competitive is it going to be? Again, I've seen it at one, I've seen it in the thousands. Just up to you to say, oh, there's only two downloads. Maybe I should bid on this. But anyways, so yes, some opportunities are posted in different ways. SAP Ariba, though, is more or less is the prime way the government of Canada posts and shares its tender documents. And as well, you can use the same login to view tender opportunities from around the world within Canada as well. So there's a bunch of different spin-off effects to registering and then getting completed. So I imagine some of you might have already run into a snag. If you already have an account on SAP Ariba, that might have been the first issue. And it's saying, hey, you already have an account, and then you were trying to reset your password or something. But once you do complete and you are registered and you do click the accept button when you do get through this initial page, you want to complete your profile to increase the chances that you do win a supplier opportunity. So from the SAP Ariba homepage after logging in, you'll want to select the company profile from the drop-down menu in the top right. Um, and if I go to log, I think this is where I can share some of my information now. Hopefully, this website has been so funky with me, and SAP Ariba is not the easiest website to navigate. This isn't a Government of Canada website either. It's a website that the Government of Canada platform, sorry, that the government of Canada uses to host some of its tenders, but it is not something that the government of Canada has any control over. Unlike this website, the government of Canada has complete control over every single piece of text you see on here. SAP Ariba is its own company, and it's not always the easiest to manage and deal with. Just from our own supplier experience, and so certainly you're going to run into snags. And again, that's why we're happy to help here. You might run into a pop-up questionnaire too, an SPQ pop-up questionnaire. You can always save this as a draft as well. And here, let me just go to company profile, and hopefully this page loads. It did not load earlier this morning when I was trying, but God, I pray. So from here, we can start with the different, we can start with the oh, maybe, I don't know. It's so funky today. You want to though complete the profile question. So in 3.1, you want to read the notice privacy and select yes from the drop down menu. 3.2 is the code of conduct for procurement. Oh, here we go. Perfect. I think so. And from here, you'll just want to answer all the questions to the best of your knowledge. General company information is question four, and it's a drop-down menu that best reflects your business. There's then question five, the integrity regime, and all this stuff. So it might take you a few moments to finish everything, and there is an ambulance driving by. But it might take you a few moments to finish things with your profile. If you're an individual or sole proprietor, you will want to list the names of all the owners. For public corporation, again, all the names of the current directors, partners, and trustees. Private corporation, all the names of the owners. Joint venture, same thing. And you'll just keep going down. We'll then reach question six and go over the Indigenous self-identification process, where you can potentially identify yourself as an Indigenous business, and the questions do go on. There it is. I can definitely see a few puzzled faces here, and there's probably some pops-ups that are coming up and saying that my screen definitely doesn't match. And yes, that is going to be the case. It is a little funky because we are in the government as well, and our government account is always a little bit different. And walking through the process is unique. So I will try to get back to the right page. But it is going to take a little bit of time just to fill out the questions and just make sure that you are adding in all of the appropriate information. There's always a time to pause and keep adding information as well. But it is going to take a few moments just to make sure that you're adding everything. There's green considerations as well. Equity, diversity within the registration process and stuff. But yeah, and then the website is not loading again. So it's always
But I think, it's good to note that the idea here is that, you don't do this in 5 minutes on a Friday afternoon. This is sort of
Mhm.
you're feeling good one day, you're ready with all your information, maybe sit down and start. But I mean, it's nice, so nice with these pack sessions that we've got, someone that actually works at the government to help you through that. And we will share Carter's information. So specific questions, or if you really get stuck, we'll make sure that you get to where you need to go. So yeah, it's doable, but just think of it like school, maybe university, maybe grad school. It's, you can't rush it. It's got to go at the
For
pace it's
sure.
got to go.
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, it's a little bit of homework to do. And certainly we're happy to help give you the answers and just ask the right questions to better give you the answers too. Sometimes the questions that are being asked in the registration process are not always framed in the easiest way or in plain language. And that's what we're here to do too, is just to help you better navigate it. I recognize that I was rapidly going through some of the questions, and it's definitely not fair to a first time supplier registering on the system. Just wanted to make sure that I was just addressing all of the different line items too. Still see some puzzled faces, and so that definitely means that my inbox will be filled, and that's okay. I'd love to meet with you guys to better discuss how to navigate the process. Yes, there's my email. So please feel free to reach out. I am always happy to meet with you to discuss how to better navigate. And again, with 22 people, 23 different kind of suppliers registering, it's hard to address individual comments as it goes. But I hope this gives you a bit of flavor to navigate. And please, again, reach out. I would love to meet with you to get you registered and lead you to success.
And, another point that, I'm sure Carter would agree with is the idea that if you have a small business and you manage to get one contract, an ongoing contract with the government that could be worth $20,000, $50,000, $100,000, think of that as such a boost to your existing business. It's like an add-on that's right here, and there couldn't be a better time, I don't think, in our last 100 or so years to be Canadian. And the government of Canada wants to sell, it wants to buy from you. So I think that's pretty marvelous. Okay, Carter, you've probably got 5, maybe 10 minutes left. Does anybody have any questions or anything you want to ask Carter, like while he's here? You can raise your hand or unmute yourself. You've done such an excellent job. They're all like mesmerized, and you've answered all their questions, which is great. Do you think there's anything else like that they should know in the next 5 minutes or so that you can go through, Carter?
The last two things is that I just saw a question from Jessica asking about healthcare and social services. They Provincial platforms are specific search terms for locating residential care RFPs and service contracts. Yeah, so you're absolutely right. Healthcare is more of a provincial jurisdiction. There will be some opportunities on Canada Buys for that. For Health Canada and stuff like that, but they're going to be a little bit more few and far between and less procured. Beyond the Government of Canada platform, BC Bid, the regional, municipal, different procurement platforms, City of Vancouver, all of the different municipalities in the Lower Mainland will have their own different type of procurement platform and registration process. Search terms, again, I would search as broad as possible. In healthcare, there's so much specificity down to the specific raw good that's being used to make a different type of, product. So I would just encourage you to be as broad as possible and then kind of narrow it down from there. What does that mean? Healthcare. So just searching healthcare, just searching health is going to be the best way to start. From there, we can kind of filter down to better understand how does the government categorize things. Again, the dog example, the RCMP dog example is a great illustration of this concept. So starting is broad and then filtering it down from there, from it won't take you very long to find the best search terms. And it's a great way. The other thing that I just wanted to show is oh God,
And
it
sorry,
is
sorry,
the
Carter.
oh
Um,
yep.
Nancy also has a question in the chat as well.
Oh, perfect. My business in a partnership. Can my partner log into these sites with the username and passwords? So it would be best to use the same login for all the stuff. It double registering for these items isn't always the best. It might give the indication that um it just might not be treated as equally as possible. Having one company win potentially one tender, and then you're reaching out on another whatever, another account, if you will, then that'll just create some complexity with the government of Canada that they might not even be knowing of how to manage that type of communication, and it might just create some different complexity on your side too to be like, wait, who asked this question and where did we submit this? So share one. I would encourage you to share one link. Um, I do websites, so I do see a lot of information. Still need to sit down and go over this info. Absolutely. There's a ton of info. The last thing that I do want to go over is just the business benefits finder, if you guys know about that. The business benefits finder, I'm not going to spell it correctly, but if we go to it, it'll be the first link that pops up, and I will share a link in the chat. This is just, I really just share this because it identifies every single benefit across Canada at a municipal, federal, and institutional level. What does that mean, a benefit? Grants, loan subsidies, wage advancements, expert advice, tariff relief, all of the above, really. And we can see that there's 157, 1,500 different opportunities that are currently available. There's always going to be some type of initiative to it. So sometimes it's, export support for SMEs or grants to train employees in Nunavut. However, we can just search up, and again, this isn't going to be the best search term, but they do have equity deserving kind of support programs. So support for Alberta women entrepreneurs, Manitoba women, Saskatchewan, wage subsidies, money startup for Indigenous women in Saskatchewan. So there's definitely going to be some opportunities on the business benefits finder. Again, this might not be the best search term, and please, I encourage you to search for your maybe commodity or different type of industry on here. And it's just a great way to stay up to date. You can as well create notifications on here. And again, whenever a different type of grants and funding comes up, loans and capital investments, wage subsidies and interns pops up, you'll be notified right away. So really encourage you to bookmark this website. This one is with the Innovation for Solutions and Economic Development ISED Innovations, yes, the innovative one of Canada, and they're responsible for this site, and we do have connections to ISED, and we'd be happy to share those with you. But anyways, this is just a great resource for small businesses in Canada. Really encourage you to take a look at it and see what's popping up. Can I share a link? Absolutely, absolutely, I can share a link. 1 second.
Great, Carter. That's, again, we can all take all this information in, all at once. That's why the nice thing about this session is it's being recorded. So you all are going to get a link to the recording later today or tomorrow. So, any questions that pop up, fiddle around in the website, have a look. Again, it's brand new to a lot of you. And yeah, if you get stuck somewhere, expect some glitches, as Carter said, and you won't be terribly disappointed. But yeah, the Business Benefits Finder, SAP Ariba, how to register, and good old Canada Buys. That's going to really get you sort of thinking about the idea of procurement, which is, what we want out of this session. So um, the recording link is coming to everybody later today or tomorrow. So that's it, Jessica. So I just want to thank Carter for a great presentation today. I mean, it's all really good information, and there'll be part three coming up. And yeah, hopefully, this is sort of the information that's going to help you move your business forward, maybe to a new level. Who knows? So, Carter, if you just want to stop sharing your
Sure.
screen, I will go ahead and share mine, and we will. I'll wrap up so everybody can get on with their day. So there's mine. Okay. All right. So everybody, I just want to tell you a little bit about our SMART programs and some other things that's happening at WeBC. Um, these programs are free, believe it or not. They're asynchronous, so that means you go online, you register. They're free to use for 90 days. You'll end up with an HR plan for your business. A cash flow for your business, a marketing plan for your business. And yeah, I'd encourage you to check out our website to do that. There's the registration link down in the corner. Um, and these are some upcoming events. February 12th is our next session for our last session for the PAC series. Then we've got some webinars on AI, elevating your pitch if any of you are on in a tech industry and want to do that. So yeah, yeah, so that's about it. We're just going to, Selena's going to go ahead and put up the feedback poll. Like I say, we're going to have you have a link to this session to you later today or tomorrow that you can click on. And I believe you've got access to it for 90 days. So you can watch it as many times as you want. If you've got a topic or something that you'd like WeBC to do in the future, please enter it into the feedback poll. Anybody that has to go, thank you so much for joining us today. Please go ahead and sign up for our eBlast newsletter if you'd like more information about what WeBC does for women here in BC. And yeah, if you've got to go, say goodbye. Thank you very much to Carter. Thank you all for being here today. And we'll see you on the 12th, I believe, for the last session. So thanks very much, everybody. Have a great day. And Selena will just leave the poll open for a couple more minutes. Thanks, Carter. And
Thanks, you
yeah,
guys.
yeah, it was great. Thank you. And then whenever the poll is done, Selena will shut us down and we're all good. Thanks, everybody.
Is Jessica still on this call?
I don't think so. Jessica,
Yeah.
you still there?
Hi there, I am. Thank you so much for the presentation this morning. It's been very insightful.
Thank
No.
you for
Thanks
joining
for
us.
joining us. If you want to, I sent you a private chat. If you want to give me your email, and then I can send you the recording for the first pack session.
Yes, thank you, because I missed it. And so I really want to learn about what happened in the first session.
Yeah, no
Okay.
problem.
I just sent it.
Perfect.
Thank you, ladies, for all of your information.
Thanks,
And Carter, I
Jessica.
think he already signed off.
Have a great day.
You too. Take care, everyone.
Thanks.
Question. Hi, Kathy.
Hi.
Sorry, I was late because I was waiting. Well, I'm new in BC. I was waiting for the link, like for the Zoom, and I didn't know that um, we use the same Zoom meeting link.
For every time.
Yes,
It's okay,
yes.
Julia. We are going to send everybody a recording
Okay,
of the session for
okay.
today. And if you missed, did you see the last one? Or
Uh,
because there's three in this series?
yes, I saw the last one, but the for today I missed 15 minutes because I was trying to find the email
No
to
problem.
log in.
Yeah, no problem. You're going to get an email from us
Okay.
with a link later today or tomorrow morning. If you don't get it, go ahead and send us an email and we'll get it to you. Check your
Okay.
junk file, but it should be there by tomorrow morning for you. And then you can
Okay.
just rewatch the session. If you have any questions, just get back to us. Okay?
Yes. And I might need help like to or the link like to register, like how to
Yes.
register that.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
our presenter today was Carter Bobby, and
Yes.
he is going to provide his email information and you can work with him directly.
Okay.
So it's one of those things where it's a bit of a process, but yeah, we'll get you done.
Okay.
Okay?
Excellent. Thank you so much. So you
Thanks,
don't need my
Joanne.
email, right? So
Yeah, we
you
do.
just email.
Yeah,
Oh,
can
okay.
you type it into the chat?
I did.
Okay,
Okay. I
perfect. So
just
you got it, Selena, from Julia. Yep.
okay. Thank you so
Thanks
much.
a lot.
It's
Okay.
awesome. I
Oh,
feel
good.
like very good information for
Excellent.
new people and for the business. Yes. Thank
Great.
you. Okay,
Thank
bye
you.
for now.
Bye-bye.
See
Have a
you.
good day.
Okay. Bye.
You got that, Selena? Okay, so you can just go ahead and shut the feedback poll down if you think it's done and end the meeting.
Okay.